Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election held in Nigeria on February 25, 2023. In this video, I want us to analyze a recent statement by a former Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo. Festus Keyamo claims that the Supreme Court and the judiciary have never been compelled to issue denials before in Nigeria. They have never been forced or compelled to issue denials before in Nigerian politics, saying that it is unprecedented. Festus Keyamo, a former Minister of Labor and Employment, he was reacting to the statement by the Supreme Court that's denying some allegations made against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Arewola. And Festus Keyamo was saying that it is an unprecedented event where the Supreme Court or the judiciary or any of its branches will have to refute reports in the media. He made the post after the Supreme Court rejected the story of a phone call conversation between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was declared winner of the February 25, 2023 presidential election, and is being challenged by Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party. And of course, the phone conversation was brought up because of it is an anomaly for a president who is an interested party in a court matter to be having conversation with the Chief Justice of Nigeria, which was interpreted as a plot to facilitate miscarriage of justice. Festus Keyamo was saying that all these allegations against the judiciary, he said it has never happened before in Nigerian politics. Well, he may be right, but there are things that the judiciary are doing now that has never been done before. And Festus Keyamo, being a senior advocate of Nigeria, should know better. That there are things happening in Nigerian judiciary today that has never happened before. In the Nigerian judiciary of the old, who would have believed that a man who came fourth in governorship election in Imo State will move from that fourth position in a controversial circumstance and emerge the winner of the election? Now, don't get me wrong, because you have seen me here on this channel where I have demonstrated how P2B, who is in third position according to INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, how he will move from the third position to the fourth position. I explain it with clarity and understanding. Anybody with unbiased mind will see how P2B will move from number 3 to number 4. But till this day, nobody could say with clarity that he understood how Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressive Congress moved from number 4 position to number 1 position in Imo State. And if you look at that judgment of the Supreme Court, that judgment of the Supreme Court has continued to tear Imo State apart. Imo State used to be a heaven of peace, harmony. People from river states and all over the place, they used to come to Imo State on weekends to relax because Imo was peaceful, Imo was orderly. But since that Supreme Court misadventure, Imo has never known peace. There are certain local governments now that are almost deserted. This is the outcome when the Supreme Court gets it wrong. So the idea that people are tackling the Supreme Court or judiciary is because of things like this, where even top-ranking senior lawyers like Professor Chidodin Kanu say he does not understand how Ozodinma moved from number 4 to number 1. Now, if Chidodin Kanu, a professor of law, could not understand how that happened, it now shows you the level that the judiciary has descended in Nigeria. And Festus Keyamo should not claim ignorance that there is a deterioration of credibility of the judiciary. And it has consequences, like what is happening in Imo State. We have a situation of total breakdown of law and order in a hitherto peaceful state. All thanks to the decision of the judiciary. So Festus Keyamo has to note it, that the judiciary are doing things they have never done before. Not since Nigeria's independent or even before have Nigerians seen a situation where the judiciary have been accused of miscarriage of justice. That of Imo State and the consequences of it are still being reverberated every day in Imo State. People are being killed, traditional rulers, all kinds of people dying. And many people trace the root to that alleged miscarriage of justice, in which somebody who came forth emerged mysteriously at number 1 position. And since that time, things has fallen apart in Imo State, and the center cannot hold. So Festus Keyamo should spare us his lamentation, because he's in this country when former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, bought form, 100 million naira form, to contest for presidential ticket of the All Progressive Congress. The same thing with Senator Ahmed Lawal, bought forms to contest for president. And the Electoral Act was clear about this, that you cannot contest for 2 positions. Yet these people, after contesting and failing in getting the presidential ticket of the APC, emerged from nowhere and became the senatorial candidates of the APC. Today, Godswill Akpabio is the Senate president. And Ahmed Lawal, the former Senate president, has returned to the Senate. How did it happen? The thing even generated a lot of comic relief for Nigerians when Senator Rochas Okorocha, during the valedictory session of the 9th Senate, was making light of it, asking the then Senate President, Senator Ahmed Lawal, Say, you have to teach me the arithmetic of politics. How did you do it? We contested for the presidential tickets of the APC. How did you manage to emerge the senatorial candidate of your senatorial district? How did you do it? Even Rochas Okorocha cannot explain how Ahmed Lawan emerged the senatorial candidate of his party after contesting for the presidential ticket of the party. That uh, Rochas Okorocha said that Ahmed Lawan should teach him how to play the politics. And he said that a chapter should be written. He said something of that nature. Should be written how he was able to maneuver his way. Who helped him to maneuver the way? Who made it possible for Ahmed Lawan and Godswill Akpabio, who contested for the presidential ticket of the APC, to emerge as senatorial candidates of their parties and won election, and today Godswill Akpabio is sitting pretty as the Senate president, and Ahmed Lawan returned to the Senate under controversial circumstances that was upheld by the Nigerian Supreme Court. Those are the unprecedented things that has never happened before, which is leading to what Festus Keyamo is talking about. Because the judiciary have gotten to this level, then people have to raise eyebrow. And by raising that eyebrow, the Supreme Court, the judiciary have to respond. This thing we are talking about here, even Professor Chido Dinkano and several other great minds in the legal profession, they are still trying to wrap their heads around it. How Akpabio and Ahmed Lawan emerged senatorial candidates of their party after contesting for the presidential ticket of the APC. And you can see it has never happened in the history of Nigeria. Somebody like Senator Mukachua at the valedictory section of the Ninth Senate was emboldened to talk about how he helped his colleagues to navigate through legal landmines through the instrumentality of his wife, who was a former president of the Court of Appeal. He was bold about it, and he wanted to go further to stem Nigerians more. If not for Ahmed Lawan, the presiding officer of the day, who tried to cut him, tried to remind him, telling him that he shouldn't be talking, shouldn't go further. The man wanted to celebrate his wife, how he had helped his friends, his colleagues in the Senate to bypass legal landmines, obviously. Don't forget, in 2019, because of this Senator Bukachua, Atiku Abubakar, the then presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the presidential election 2019, had to issue a petition that Zainab Bukachua, the president of the appeal court then, should recuse herself because of her husband's position as a major chieftain of the APC. Now, that thing that PDP feared in 2019 was confirmed by the husband of the former president of the Court of Appeal during the valedictory session of the Senate, when he spilled the beans, trying to explain how he helped his colleagues to get legal reprieve through the instrumentality of his wife. That should be of concern to Festus Keyamo. That is and I didn't hear anything from Festus Keyamo when this matter came up. That is what we talk about, the deterioration of the judiciary, the debasing of the judiciary. The idea of issuing statement is minor. It shows that because of the rot going on in the judiciary, it has created activism in the civil society organizations and ordinary Nigerians who are no longer ready to tolerate the alleged miscarriage of justice coming out of the court. Where now people see the court as a place where only the rich can get justice, only the well-connected can get justice. And you see it in the interpretation of what is going on at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Already some people believe that despite the fact that they know the point of the law, but they still believe that forget about the point of the law. We know it is not, they will ask you, is it not Nigeria? We are inside. Forget about it. Obi is not going anywhere. Why are they saying like that? Why are they talking like that? Obi is not going anywhere. It's not that they doubt the law. They doubt the fact that whether Obi has genuine evidence to prove his case or not. As far as they are concerned, if Obi like, let him bring all the 100% intact evidence, they believe that he's going nowhere. Because as far as they are concerned, this is Nigeria. And the judiciary, like every other institution, have been pocketed by certain people. So those people, you can't move against them and succeed because they are holding Nigeria on the jugular. So that is the mentality. And why are they like that? Because they believe strongly that the judiciary is corrupt. Because they believe that the judiciary is corrupt, they don't believe that any person can get justice. So that's why they look at those who went to court to challenge the presidential election result as wasting their time. Whenever you hear anybody say that Peter Obi is wasting his time in the court, Atiku Abubakar is wasting his time in the court, what they are saying, what they are announcing to you is basically to tell you that the judiciary is corrupt, so nobody can get justice. That is what should worry Festus Keyamo. And that is what should worry the judiciary. And that is why the ongoing Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which will eventually, the outcome will eventually get to the Supreme Court, is a litmus test for Nigeria's judiciary to make or mar our democracy and to make or mar the judiciary as an institution. Festus Keyamo is talking that it has never happened, the kind of pressure that have been put on the judiciary. But we have never had a situation in this country where the children of justices are being favored in deployment to the judiciary, made high court judges. The processes that they emerge has been put to a lot of questions. I saw Professor Chidi Odinkalu. He was on Channels Television. He was talking about this. How is it that now the children, the justices of our Supreme Court and all that, are now recycling their children in the same system? And even when the moderator was telling him that the children may be qualified, but he asked how transparent was the process in which their children are imagined as judges of the High Court. So these are the things that Festus Keyamo ought to be complaining about. What is happening to the judiciary that we are now having personalization of personnel? When was the last time a children of nobody, a son of nobody, a daughter of nobody has become a high court judge in Nigeria? These days, when they publish the list of those who are high court judges, you begin to see people pointing family member, top judicial officers through whom they emerge, either from their fathers or their family friend and all kinds of things. I'm not making this up. I keep repeating Chide or Denkal because he has said a lot of things about this. He had done a lot about this, complained about this, said a lot of things about this, written a lot about this. So that should have been what is of concern to Festus Keyamo. I'm not that the judiciary or the Supreme Court was made to issue a rebuttal. They have to do that because issue a rebuttal because when they put themselves in an uncompromising position, that is the consequences. That is the consequences of hobnobbing with politicians. That is the consequences of precedent. When you set a precedent, you issued a judgment, you make a judgment, and people are still scratching their head to understand the reason why you arrive at your verdict, and they could not be able to wrap their heads around it. That is the fact. That is at the root of where we are today, where the judiciary has to continuously issue rebuttal statements because all eyes are on them, unlike before. Before, when you hear a judgment from the Supreme Court, you know that basically it was done from the point of law. And you see even judges, the lawyers in the losing side, they won't say any negative thing about it. But you can't say the same thing today. Today you see judgment being done, being given, and people cannot understand how the judiciary, how the justices arrive at that particular decision. That was why I remember Ulisabakova, SAN, when they were talking about the dispensation of presidential petition on time, and they were asking him to sort of predict the outcome of the presidential election petition. He said he cannot, because if it were in the past, you can by point of law and evidence be able to project the outcome of a dispute. He said, but now you can't do it. And he rested that his position on the fact that he has no confidence that because of the confidence deficit in the judiciary, nobody, even senior lawyers, don't dare predict the outcome of a case in court because they will be so ridiculously out of point when the verdict comes out. They will be asking themselves, how did they arrive at this verdict? So these are the danger that we face. These are the deterioration of the judiciary that should be of concern to Festus Keyamo. And it should also be of concern to all Nigerians, because right now all eyes is on the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and the Supreme Court. And that is why you see all these maneuvers, all these suspicions, because people believe, there are many people who believe, they already know what ought to be the outcome of these petitions. And anything short of that in their mind, it means that it was a deliberate miscarriage of justice. Unfortunately, the judiciary did not put itself into this, but it willingly accepted it and absorbed itself inside it. For example, if INEC had conducted free and fair election of February 25, which was the process through which the next president ought to emerge, now the next president has emerged in a faulty process according to the petitions of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, and they are challenging it. Because of that faulty process by INEC, the only solution to the dispute is the court. So court is now paying the price of the ineptitude of the deliberate corruption in our electoral process. The court is expected to solve the problem created by the electoral umpire. And in a Nigeria that is the second most corrupt country in West Africa, one of the most corrupt countries in the world, a country that former Prime Minister of Britain, David Cameron, described as a fantastically corrupt country. In fact, David Cameron described Nigeria and Pakistan as two fantastically most corrupt countries in the world. Even former President Buhari, who was in England when he said it, he couldn't argue about it. He didn't even try to defend Nigeria, that Nigeria was not fantastically corrupt. So if we know that corruption is a major challenge, why should anybody be surprised when they accuse an official of the judiciary in Nigeria of today of corruption, and people are trying to say act as if it is rocket science or an abnormality? It's not supposed to take anybody by surprise. But what is important, let me also add, what is important is that those who were accused denied it. But it's now left for Nigerians to know whether to accept the denial or not. However, the outcome of the presidential election petition, both at the appeal courts, where that it is now, and at the Supreme Court, will tell Nigerians once again whether they have to trust their judiciary or not. What they do within this period will tell Nigerians whether we are going to live in a country where the judiciary will continue to come out to deny accusations, or whether we will now live in a country where we can say judiciary has redeemed itself. We can now go to sleep knowing that the judiciary will do the right thing to protect our democracy, to protect the rule of law, to protect the aggrieved. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. God bless you and yours.